Hi everyone, Anthony Fantano here, internet's busiest music nerd, and it's time for a review of this new NIKI mini album, Zephyr. This is the debut mini album of singer-songwriter, recent 88 Rising signee NIKI, aka Nicole Zefania. It is a short 25 minutes and 8 tracks, but a very promising start to a hopefully successful career in pop and R&B. Even though Zephyr is of a meager size, it is still a project that showcases some thoughtful songwriting, quality vocals, tasteful production, a very sensual vibe, as well as a mix of classic and contemporary R&B sounds. The song NEWSFLASH is an excellent start to the record, kind of feels like instrumentally a mix of Amy Winehouse, some Nora Jones, with lots of rich pianos and very crisp sequenced drums, vintage horn hits, sassy lead vocals delivering lyrics about shutting down this guy who she sees as kind of being out of her league. Not to mention in her description he seems like a little bit of a D-bag, kind of like a pickup artist type. Even though NIKI feels like an artist who kind of wears her influences on her sleeve from the start of this project, she still has quite a bit of personality on this cut, not only through the singing and the lead vocals, but with some of the more playful and ad-libby vocal bits that pop up here and there that transition the song from one section to another. Also that hook, like when the horns burst in and "Go be someone else's hangover." It's just an impeccable start to this thing, a great introduction to a new artist overall. If you only listen to one single song off of this project, make sure it's this one. NIKI then takes things into slightly more sensual territory with Say My Name. Sonically, while it is one of the softer tracks on this thing, its intentions are some of the most animalistic, with NIKI going as far as to tell her man on the track to shut the fuck up and close the door. There's a real element of tension in the lyrics on this track, like her and this guy just kind of got through arguing, but she kind of wants to get back to that moment where their relationship is in a state of bliss, strictly in the physical sense in this instance. It's not a bad tune either, though I will say the production on this cut is a little bit more contemporary and a tad bland. The song Friends seems almost like a track that stereotypically I would hear like a Kalani or a SZA on top of. Basically singing about making this mistake of getting too physical or too intimate with a guy, and now you sort of regret it and wish you would just remain friends. The hook pops, but I wish it lasted just a little bit longer, while the verses kind of feel like these musical internal ramblings of all the downsides of this decision that she's made. And even though the subject matter of this track is pretty awkward, it's undeniably one of the cuter songs on the entire project. Then there is the very dramatic and spacious Spells, which feels like a euphoric dream. There are distant shimmering pianos on this thing, angelic background vocals, this very subtle puttering trap beat, which I wasn't all that crazy about at first, but it has kind of warmed up to me. It doesn't really overtake the song that much. NIKI not only wins me over with some of the lyrical bright spots on this track, like even though this person doesn't believe in heaven, she's going to love them till it hurts like hell, but also she delivers what's easily one of the most emotional vocal performances on the entire project too. Between the good song and the beautiful vocals and the instrumentation on this track, it feels almost unfair to critique or review it, because I'm really just being seduced on this song. I'm kind of powerless against it. The moment when she's singing about God breaking this spell certainly seems apt, given that this song feels like a lovesick trance. The song Vintage feels like an old school 90s era pop and R&B blend, with this bustling beat, bright ringing synth chords, very nimble vocal leads and harmonies. I don't know if it's the tune or the chords or the beat, but there's just something about this song that feels eerily similar to that Ghost Town DJ's song, My Boo. At night, I dream of you. Meanwhile, the lyrics tell this story of falling back in love with someone who you used to be in a relationship with, so that relationship, that connection, it's vintage. And even though you had this falling out, you kind of forget why the relationship ended, and getting back together with that person feels kind of easy. It's sort of like familiar territory. It's after this track, though, where I feel like the mini record here starts to falter a bit. The song Dancing with the Devil doesn't have the sharpest tune on the record, though I will admit it is a high point on the album when NIKI kind of busts out with that "God, I'm so gone" line. The song Pools is yet another very spacey, glossy ballad. I feel like she did this aesthetic better on Spell, though. Not only that, but the track seems to have like a similar descending vocal melody that just has too many eerie similarities to it. Just kind of feels like a redundant moment in the track listing overall. And the very somber and simple vocal piano combo at the very finish of this thing shows that NIKI works pretty well in an intimate context as well. Even though I wouldn't say this record sticks the landing, I still think it's a relatively solid effort. And even though it's not exactly cutting edge when it comes to the genres that NIKI's playing in, there are still a lot of great performances and good singing and quality writing and classy instrumentation on this thing. It seems like NIKI has a lot going for her right out of the gate. I'm feeling a light 7 on this thing. Transition, have you given this thing a listen? Did you love it? Did you hate it? What would you rate it? You're the best, you're the best. What should I review next? Hit the like if you like, please subscribe, and please don't cry. Over here next to my head is another video that you can check out. Hit that up, or the link to subscribe to the channel. Anthony Fantano, NIKI, Zephyr, forever.